And hello, everyone, and welcome to Insider Gaming Weekly, a video game podcast here on YouTube and Twitter. I am, of course, Mike Straw, one of Insider Gaming's senior editors, joined, as always, by my co-senior editor, Grant Taylor Hill, my senior producer, our senior producer, A to the P, Albert Perkins, and the one, the only himself, the Gong Lord, Henderson.
It's back.
It's back. It never left. Guys, how are you doing? We have a big loaded show to talk about this week. And it's on time, thanks to Google not crapping the bed right before air.
Yeah, thank goodness, man. It's about time that we get a show that's on time and everything works out in the beginning as well. It's nice to be here once again. Like Mike said, we got a jam-packed week. We got a lot to talk about this week, man. I'm pumped. I'm ready.
And before we get into that, as always, make sure you are subscribed if you're watching here on YouTube. You leave a like on this video. You turn on your notifications so you never miss whenever we go live or post new videos, which are going to be happening a lot more often in the near future. Also, visit our website, insider-gaming.com, for the latest gaming news you need to know about. There's our forums at insider-gaming.com/forum, completely free to join. Join a community where the network doesn't drop. It won't crash like other social media platforms, Insider Gaming forums. And lastly, the newsletter. Every Tuesday, Insider Gaming's weekly newsletter. Over 62,000 strong subscribers each and every week, Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. But we need to kick off this show with what we do every week. We skipped it last week because it was loaded, but I'm making sure we fit it in this week. What are you guys playing? Anything new? AP, I'm starting with you because you know where we're going to go.
Oh, no.
Is it finally over? Is the saga finally done?
We really are the Final Fantasy.
Well, I got to start with this. First off, I want to say that I did get an awesome opportunity to play Rematch. I want to talk about Rematch first because Rematch is freaking awesome. Bro, this is coming from somebody who's not even into football at all. And I am absolutely locked into that
soccer,
game.
But you know.
Wait, no, I'm going I was about to say, AP gave it the right name.
Hey, right, I'm trying to show the respect, bro.
The people from the island on the side here, they're the ones that came up with the term.
They're also the ones that came up with the motherfucking sport. Oh, sorry, I cussed.
Sorry. Oh my God, we're monetized.
Oh, there it is.
Wait, how far in are we?
No,
5 minutes.
Wrap it up.
Anyway,
it's over.
Continue.
My bad. I'm passionate, you know.
Yeah, very much so, Grant. Very much
Didn't
so.
know
It's
that,
all
but,
good,
you know.
man. It happens. We're human, right? But man,
Mike has already got my goat, man. I'm sorry, AP. I'm sorry,
5
AP.
minutes.
We'll go.
Oh, so great. But man, no, look, the game is it's phenomenal. I'm horrible at football soccer games at the end of the day. And I'm playing through this and I'm just doing the best I can. And somehow last night I was playing a game, man. I'm doing 4-on-4. I scored 2 goals, man. I'm like, do I kind of know what the hell I'm doing here? I'm like, okay, man. But look, it's a lot of fun, highly competitive. Seems like there's a lot of really, really good community with it as well. I'm sure Mike will be talking about it as well whenever we get to what he's been playing. I know for a fact he's been playing it. But the question you've been asking me, did I finish Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? That is the question. And well, the answer.
Roll.
There it is.
Yes!
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is a wrap. I finally finished Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. 60 hours, ladies and gentlemen. 60 hours. I was playing that game since February, but it's finally over. What a beautiful game. Absolutely incredible. I was locked into the story. Got emotional at the end, as I expected. Man, such a great game. Great game.
Grant, how about you?
I've been playing the try not to die from ridiculous overheating game, but we know about that. The whole world's heating up right now. It's crazy, man.
Hot
like
over there,
30.
man.
Well, I was going to say it's like 30 degrees over here, but you know, for the American listeners, what's that like? What's 30? Like 85 or something? Me,
something like that. Yeah.
game-wise, not much, really not much. Since we got back from Summer Game Fest, I feel like I've not been playing much at all, to be honest. I've dipped back into Dying Light 2 because playing the Beast at Summer Games Fest has just made me so hyped for it coming out in August. So I've been playing 2, trying to scrape up all of the trophies, which is really cool. Except, I don't know if you guys have played a Dying Light game, but there's this really weird bug right now, and I don't know why. It basically, Dying Light is all about the day-night cycle. And then when it becomes nighttime, the game gets like massively more difficult, and you get these like real big beasties that come out, and you get like boosted XP and stuff. I have this really weird bug where nighttime stays daytime, so night will fall, but it will stay daylight. So I don't know whether it's day or night or what's going on. I'll run into enemies that should only be out at night, and they're out in the daytime for me, and it's so disorienting. It's unbelievable. I've been playing that, and I've been playing a little bit of the weirdest VR game ever called Blood Trails, which is literally it's the most violent thing you'll ever see in your life. There's no objective to it except shoot people. And that's about it. There's no story or anything. It's been out since 2018 or 2019, and they've been like one of these developers that's like, yeah, we've got it coming. And to give them credit, they still update the game here and there, but no story, no real bulk to it. But it's just, you run about, you shoot things, and it is horrifically realistic. And that is basically it. So that's been me for like the last week or so.
How about you, Tom? Have you played anything since coming home?
Not too much, to be honest.
Why? What do you got to do? What are you so busy with running the company?
Oh man, just don't even go there. I played a little bit of Battlefront 2 again, and also some Hell Let Loose. I'm just into the big military shooters, like just large battles.
I mean, it makes sense to just prepare yourself
for,
certain situations.
All right. Oh, here we go.
We can't be doing this. Can't be doing this.
We got to get people talking about this show. We already started with Grant, and then there we go. I'll just jump right in and add to it.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing. So, yeah. What about you, Mike?
Rematch.
Yeah.
Since Monday, when we could install the game, I have put in. I will tell you right now. Let's look at this. I have put in 16 hours.
Wow.
I am hooked on this game. My review will not be live until after the weekend because there are a lot of server and connection issues that they're still releasing daily hot fixes for that I want to see what they do on the first full weekend of the game. Before giving my final thoughts. And I am tracking because right now it's at 90, just under 93,000. It is less than 20,000 away from beating EA Sports FC and any EA Sports title on Steam in concurrent peak players.
Oh,
so
my God.
It's going to happen. I get it. And everybody's going to be like, well, it's a $30 game. I mean, there's $50, $40 version and $50 version. So
quick question.
That's literally all I've been playing.
Quick question on Rematch. You like? I know that I did get a code, but I haven't touched it yet. Is there anything different to the main game than what there was in the beta?
They have pumped a lot into it. There was a few things with the overhead flick that they changed since the beta. A bunch of bug fixes with the ball being stuck on players after a goal being scored, players being stuck in defense. But as far as like gameplay features, nothing new yet. A lot of the new features are going to be coming down the line in post-launch updates.
Yeah.
Their current focus right now is getting crossplay working, which they put out a statement very early this morning, which you can read at insidergaming.com on the status. Basically, they got stuck with unforeseen technical issues that they just weren't expecting, and they waited way too long, they admitted, to tell the community. But as far as like general updates, it's pretty much the same, just like tweaks here and there. Some people think that was too nerfed. A lot of people, including myself, think it feels great on the field when it's working and you're not hitting connection issues. And then what they have planned later on is absolutely nuts what they want to do. I mean, it's what you kind of expect: a tournament mode, a club mode, or the ability to create a club, squad spectating, and a lot of things are down the pipeline. So I'm hopeful that this game continues to see success.
Dude, just the pivot that they have done here is just truly remarkable, man.
It's Saifu's movement in a sports game. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Also, one other thing I did too this week is I finally went through all of the Magic the Gathering cards that I got while we were in LA for Summer Games Fest. We got 2 decks here, the Final Fantasy set, and then all of this.
Oh man.
A few nice valuable ones. I got a couple cards worth like $6 and stuff like that. Granted, am I going to sell them? No, but I do like them. Plus some of the art style. I mean, look at this. Look at this art style. It's so good. For the people listening, you're not going to see it. Go see it on youtube.com/insidergaming or on Spotify. We post the video podcast, but it's there. So that's what I've been playing.
Nice, Mike.
We have to move on to a loaded news show. Of course, as always, if you want to be part of the conversation, leave a chat. We will get to the questions as we can. If we miss any, we will try and get to them at the end of the show. If you want to guarantee your question gets read immediately and you want to help us, consider leaving a super chat. You are under no obligation to. This show will never be behind a paywall, but it does help us continue to bring you more great video content. Topic number 1. And the first 2 topics are Microsoft and Xbox focused. But first, we're going to start with the recently announced ROG Xbox Ally and Ally X, which we covered last week. And now, I mean, based on the source, it's tough to kind of, go with it. But there was the rumor of the release date and the price potentially being leaked. The release date, this comes from leaker ASUS, who again we'll talk about in a moment. He claims, after talking with the 2 European retailers, that pre-orders for the Xbox Ally and X will go live sometime in August, with the release coming out in October. Now, on the release window, Windows Central's Jez Corden did kind of corroborate that's what he's heard as well. The pricing is where it gets interesting. ASUS claims that the Ally X will retail for about 900 euros, the base Ally for about 600 euros. But then also there were claims that it will cost $500 and $800. So the pricing is all over the place for the base and the Ally X. And it just keeps me wondering if that's the actual price, how well will this console sell? Or handheld sell, not a full console.
Oh man, that's a wide range there between 5 and what did you say? 800 USD?
5 and 8. Yeah, the LIX rumored 500 USD, but also rumored for 900 euros. So
yeah.
I wouldn't expect. I feel like if it's going to be 900 euros, Microsoft usually goes even, so it would probably be about $900 if that's accurate. But we don't know.
Yeah. I mean, look, if it's like that, I mean, it's a lot of folks aren't going to go for it. I don't think if it's going to be priced that high. I mean, that's going to be kind of like shooting yourselves in the foot whenever it comes to that price point. A lot of folks, when they see handhelds, they see it as a console, right? But they also think that it's like a miniaturized version of a console. So therefore, you're kind of thinking, okay, the price should maybe be a little bit smaller than what we're projecting here, right? So, seeing that kind of worries me a little bit. I'm hoping that it isn't priced that high, because if it is, I don't think it's going to sell very well. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Oh, he's made a boo-boo. Grant's mic is muted.
Schoolboy error. I was being polite and I had my bottle of water. I didn't want to be going all glug glug down the microphone. So I think right now, what's the ROG Ally X now? Like 800 or something. So I don't think it's too far of a jump to make it a little bit. Well, we were saying maybe they'd subsidize it and make it cheaper, but I can see it staying at least the same price. From what we've heard, the upgrades are pretty substantial. And like it looks, feels, and plays better than the Ally X does now. So you've got to argue there's enough, meat on the bones there to maybe put the price up a little.
That's
but
fair.
when do we hit the peak for these handhelds? Because they're getting increasingly like advanced, and it's like that argument where like you play like I think a game that I would say something like, I don't know, Borderlands. I found this whenever I play Borderlands. You get a weapon, it's great, it's really cool, great stats. You open another box, that weapon's better, so you get the next one, and then you open another box, that one's better, so on and so forth. And I feel like that's the way these handhelds are going. So is the next one going to be like 1,000? The one after that, like 1,500, because the tech keeps getting bigger and better and bolder, and But I think $800, I'd pay that for what they're marketing so far and what we know has got in it. I'd pay that for it because I love my ROG. I said before, I think it's a fantastic little device, and the fact they've made it better and they've stripped out a lot of the Windows 10 UI and matched it up with the Xbox stuff so that it feels much more like a gaming handheld. I think I'd pay that. I don't know if it's one of those things where it's one of those arguments where, like, we were talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro, and they were saying, oh, this is for the price point makes sense because it's for enthusiasts. It's for people that want to get the best out of their gaming. If you want the best handheld gaming experience possible, you're going to pay the money, right? So maybe that's an argument for it.
They obviously feel confident in it because the report that came out from Tom Warren of The Verge that Xbox is basically essentially canceled its first party handheld. It seems like they're confident in this is the way they're going to go moving forward, and we have more on Xbox in a second. I don't know. It still doesn't seem like it's going to be anything that'll replace a Steam Deck for me, especially at that price. I just can't. Yeah. I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't think I would do it. Tom, are you going to be day one?
No, I'm not going to be day one.
You'll be day 3.
No, I mean, to be honest, like, I'm not too much into handheld gaming. Like, I only bought the Steam Deck probably 5 or 6 months ago, and I only bought that because I sold some CS:GO cases that I had lying around, and they increased to like $60 each. So I sold them and bought the Steam Deck that way. But I don't like. It's interesting. First of all, like, let's go back to the source of this. I know we're going to get into that him with another story as well, and I don't want to necessarily throw anyone under the bus here, but he claims that this came from like 2 retailers, right?
Yeah.
I would imagine if that was the case, then a lot more people would have heard about the price. Like, just being straight up, like, I've seen back end of eBuyer and Game in the UK and all of these, other outlets, and for the most part, they don't have access to the price at this stage, especially when it's not been announced firsthand by the manufacturer. So that's just something to bear in mind. And then going on to the actual Xbox Ally X itself, it goes back to the whole, like the enthusiast point, right? Like, if it is for enthusiasts and if it is going to be $800 or even $900, right? Because we simply don't know. Apart from this rumor, it then begs the question, and I guess this is a nice segue for you, Mike, into the next story. It begs the question of what does that mean for the next generation consoles? Right.
Yeah, and perfect segue. Speaking of the next gen consoles, Xbox confirmed earlier this week that it is working with AMD, will continue to work with AMD on a new strategic multi-year partnership to co-engineer silicon across a portfolio of devices that includes next-gen Xbox consoles. So we know, we already knew they were working on one, but it was another confirmation that a next-gen console from Xbox is on the way. AMD made their comments today as well, saying that it's a bold shared vision for the future of gaming. It's going to go beyond than just building chips used in Xbox hardware. This is going to be a, quote, full roadmap of gaming optimized chips combining the power of AMD's Ryzen and Radeon for consoles, handhelds, PC, and the cloud. And it will also utilize AI in order to help deliver the next generation of gameplay and immersive or graphics and immersive gameplay in terms of overall rendering. This new Xbox deal, as soon as it dropped, which again, we all knew a new console was coming, it led to speculation of how much this is going to cost, because there was one statement on the announcement that people are going back and forth on what it truly means. Sarah Bond, Xbox's president, said that this is about letting players play where they are across devices anywhere they want, and not locking players to a, quote, single store. So it had a lot of people wondering if Microsoft is finally going to put multiple stores on the Xbox. Whether that's Steam or not, we don't know. That keeps going back and forth. But it led to speculation of, especially from one who's known for tech specs, pricing not so much, that the next console could be $1,000. And I will go on the record. I'll make a bet. The next Xbox and even the next PlayStation, I think we're looking more at $700 to $750 like the PS5 Pro is. I will bet everything I have. I'll bet my career that the next Xbox will not be $1,000.
No. Fingers crossed it comes true.
We finally got a way out.
No, yeah, I do think you're absolutely right. The only way that I can see it being $1,000 is if it's just essentially a pre-built PC in a way. And that's the only way that I can see it. And it goes back to the Xbox LIX, right? Like it's at what price point is too much, and what price point is considered for enthusiasts. I think Xbox had the right kind of idea with the Series S and X, but I think that was a move that ultimately, like, I don't want to get into the console wars stuff because I think Xbox are doing tremendously well now in terms of what they're actually doing, but it made them lose this generation, right? We've seen it time and time again, the bad press of the Series S, having an impact in terms of development because games can't run at certain frames, so on and so forth. But I think ultimately now, my whole thing with the next generation of Xbox, and I guess with gaming in general, is I do not care about seeing my shadow in a pane of glass 500 meters away.
Agreed.
I just don't care, and I think we're seeing. I do think we're seeing that shift now, where I think that gaming is at a point where it doesn't necessarily need to move forward in that space, and instead it needs to move forward with creativity, so on and so forth. And we're seeing that now with a lot of these great indie games coming out that, frankly, like maybe 5 or 10 years ago, you would have looked at like Balatro, for example, and thought, what the hell is this?
Well, maybe y'all would have.
Yeah. But like, I mean, like, hopefully my point is coming across that I'm sick of hearing about ray tracing and all of this nonsense these days, because I don't think that I to be honest, like, since Battlefield 1, like that's like perfectly graphics. It still lives up today. Same with Star Wars Battlefront 2. We don't need anything more than that. We just need good stories and good creativity.
Yeah, I think there's a point for that, but that's such a long. We're so like long etched in that, aren't we? Like looking at, I remember like reading a review for a UFC game like 2008 or something, and they were like so fixated on the fact that you could see like sweat droplets on the fighters or something weird like that. And like,
I feel like in 2008 that's different because you were coming from the PS2 era still. You were only 2 or 3 years in from
I mean,
that generation.
It was still the graphics. I think I saw like something about it might have been, I don't know, it might have been like a Red Dead or something, and they were comparing it to Gun, if you guys remember that, and they were talking about how much more realistic like the evolution of like horse riding was and things like that. Like, I think we've always been fixated on getting better, and that has obviously led to like better graphics, bigger open worlds, you know, more granular details and things. So maybe it is time to pull back on that a bit. But I think the talking about like what it could be, you know, you were talking about the pre-built PC thing. I think that is what a lot of people think is going to be the concept, at least. Like I envision this like Xbox Fusion or something, where it's like a console / cross with a PC. It's just a box that you plug into your TV that links with Xbox controllers and has on it the Windows X Xbox UI that they're putting on the Xbox ROG Ally X. My God, I'm saying Xbox so many times, but they put that on and you plug in your TV. It has all your storefronts. It has all your applications. You can use it exactly as you would a PC. You can have it at a desk. You can plug it into a monitor and use it as a PC. But at the same time, you can plug it into a TV and use it as a home console. I think they're going to do some complete, multi-faceted, all singing, all dancing thing. And then they say, cool. Because it does all that, it's $1,000. Like, then I think people might see it as a bit more justified if they go, look, you could get a PC, or you could just get the Xbox Fusion and it does everything. It does everything that you'd want out of a PC, and you can plug it in, and then you can get your Xbox ROG Ally X companion device that works the same way as,
which is also going to be close to $1,000 apparently.
Exactly. So you're going to be spending $2,000 to get to the next generation of whatever they're bringing out from Xbox and Microsoft. But I could see it being $1,000 if they do all of that. If they justify it by saying it's everything. The Xbox everything. Just call it that.
You mean the Xbox One?
Yeah,
it was all in one. AP,
how'd that work out? Yeah.
Do you think that? Imagine they dropped it to $1,000. AP, do you think? And again, we are 2 years at least away. From this. But remind everybody, like, it's not like Xbox is going to come out and announce their next gen console now. My guess is when they announce it. Like, if I were to put a guess on it, I think by the end of next year we'll get like more up. Like the first like real word about it as part of like the end of their 25th anniversary celebration. But should it come out and it's $1,000, what would your reaction be? There's no way to justify it. I'll buy a PC for $500 more.
Exactly. You're kind of stealing my thunder there, because that's where I was going. But before I get to that, I have breaking news. Apparently, Tom Henderson doesn't give a damn about photorealism in video games, huh? Look, at the end of the day, I mean, I get that argument, but like, man, we've come so long, so far, if you kind of think back, I mean, to the days of just pixelation with Nintendo and all the 8-bit and everything. And you look at it now, it's just like, oh my God, it's crazy, right? You kind of think of it from that perspective. It's kind of, long term, it's like, man, we've come a long, long way. But I do see your argument and your point. But $1,000, getting back to that, oh man, no, dude. I feel like that's a number that's a threshold that you don't want to hit, because, like you said, Mike, people are just going to buy a PC. You'll just buy a PC for that price. I'm not going to buy a console. I'll just spend $1,000 and get a gaming PC. I'm good.
Houston Palmer, the Xbox Series X is over 600. Yeah, they did raise the price of other consoles, but that was more of a case of the current global situation. I don't think if they were to price it at $1,000 the next console, I don't think it would be a case of the global situation. I just feel like that's what they think the console would be worth. I think by then we'll be close to the end of what's going on. Hopefully,
it's just beginning, baby.
Shut up. and we'll move on to some sort of normalcy on the cost of equipment and stuff like that. But I don't know. I know I said this about the Switch, so people will go, well, you said your Switch was too much, you bought it anyway. I think an Xbox being, or any console hitting 4 digits would be enough for me to go, I'm done with console gaming forever.
Yeah. I think what Grant said, 700, 749 is a reasonable number. And if it is 1,000, then I just feel like the PS6 will probably launch at 749 and
laugh.
Yeah, and be severely under them and so to speak win that console generation as well. But like going back to the gaming graphics, like even now, I just don't feel we're even. I don't know if it's because of COVID or whatever, but I just don't feel like we are due another generation of consoles. I don't know how you guys feel, but it just doesn't feel like.
7 years is like, it just seems too early, right? I don't know.
It's because saying it from day one. Studios, publishers kept putting out games for last gen systems far too long. They kept supporting, and I get the beginning of the release was literally middle of COVID. People weren't working, people weren't manufacturing enough consoles, they weren't there. We've hit a point where I can go to for the last couple of years, I can walk into a store and walk out with a console with no issues. It should have been in 2023 that they said we're done with last gen. Instead, no, we're still seeing new games come out for last gen. So why would anybody have upgraded? No one. People get mad now that, like, for example, Madden is finally leaving last gen behind. People lost their minds. And it's like, dude, it's time, been 12 years on that system, or 11 years on the last gen. Like, get over it, move on.
The numbers have changed now, though, haven't they? What was that report that came out recently where PlayStation showed that they showed officially for the first time that PlayStation 5 monthly active users are now actively outpacing PlayStation 4 users?
It's because now there's games.
Year it was neck and neck.
Yeah, it's because now there's games that justify it. Like, I don't care what people say about exclusives. I still believe exclusives will move consoles, but it's also a case of even if you don't want console exclusive, generation exclusives move systems. We saw it last year with college football. How many they only released? It was the first EA Sports title to be exclusive to current gen systems, and it sold current gen systems. Had we had these games, for example, Activision come out and said Call of Duty Black Ops 6 would only be on PS5, PC, Series X and S, would have been done. It would have moved all those systems. Like, we would have seen a big jump in sales and Game Pass and all that stuff. I think that they just waited too long to jump the system. And I feel like they're going to release new systems far too soon.
Yeah. I mean, the issue is they're leaving them behind now, and then we're going to get another gen in 2 years, and then it's back to square one. Maybe Call of Duty is going to release on 3 generations.
This has to be the last for Black Ops 7. This has to be the last hurrah on this system.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why Call of Duty can get away with it is because they're all on the same engine. Like each yearly release, so they don't necessarily have to. And if by the time next gen comes around in 2 years and there's still, let's just say theoretically 30-40 million still on PS4, are they gonna really want to leave them behind? I don't know. Maybe that's an Xbox decision now, though, right? Because they own Activision. Whether like, no, we want to sell the Xbox, or let's move it on to gen. Like, what gen is this one?
We're in Gen 9 right now, so we're going to Gen 10. This is the thing. Houston says it. This will be the next game that moves systems. We will see a surplus of consoles bought for GTA 6 next year. Absolutely. And it's like, if we thought college football moved them, oh my God, it's going to be. And then and people are worried about, losing past games. It seems that we are in the era where everything's going to be moving forward, backwards compatible. We know Xbox is planning all of their library backwards compatible. And that leads to the last thing on Xbox we'll talk about before we move on, because we have to. There was a rumor that popped up from the same source, Ecstasis, from the Ally pricing, of Microsoft working on an emulation program to bring original Xbox and Xbox 360 games to PC and Game Pass and other platforms, dubbed Xbox Classics internally, where they were working with the Xenia open source emulator development team. Well, that took all of an hour or two to be denied, not only by other journalists, but by the Xenia team themselves, who flat out said, if this was true, we'd all be under NDAs. There's not a single person under an NDA. So it sucks, because that sounds like a really cool idea to get some classic games we haven't had, especially from the OG Xbox. Yeah. But there's some water to pour on that. On that fire? Did they
debunk it publicly, or was it just
they are debunking it in their public Discord that anybody can go into? And then when I DM'd, I got the same message. So that story will, if you're tuning in, that story will go up on Insider Gaming as well. But yeah, so it sucks, but it's one of those things of like, it's a cool idea. And I wonder if it's a case of Microsoft sees it and goes, let's do it. But we already know they're working on bringing classic games, more classic titles to Game Pass and all that stuff. So it feels like it's only a matter of time before we see games like Fusion Frenzy come back in a big way. I would love that, by the way, to relive the first time I played that game from the original Xbox. Next on the docket, by the way, if you're just tuning in, subscribe to Insider Gaming here on YouTube. Leave a like. It helps us grow. If you want to support the channel, You can also, I got distracted by a message. Hold on, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it. If you want to support the channel and keep us doing what we do, including more video content, consider leaving a super chat. It guarantees your message gets on the air then. Real quick, this is gonna be clipped. Mike Strauss sucks and has zero credibility. All the guy does is come on X and complain about everything and cry about not getting review codes. Probably reason why. What a hack. I don't cry about not getting review codes.
I've never seen you do that.
I do complain a lot, but that's because life sucks. And zero credibility. Oh, don't you know what? I'm gonna put up I'm gonna put a list together of all my news that I've broken over the years. And then we can talk about credibility, Mr. No Name 007.
Yeah, but even if you get one thing wrong, though, right? Then they remember the one thing. They don't.
You know what? One thing I got wrong.
What have you done for me lately?
You know what? One thing I got wrong. I got wrong in the fact that I said I wasn't going to buy a Switch 2. That's what I got wrong because I ended up buying it. Granted, have I played it much? No. Is my son, are my two boys, older boys, playing it every day right now and loving life? Yes. Absolutely worth the $500 I spent on that console because of that.
Yeah.
Speaking of buying things, Sony is interested, rumored, to buy Warner Brothers games. Now, it's not just Warner Brothers game, but that's a big part of it. SE Scoops, who is an outlet that has been reliable on Warner Brothers Discovery news in the past, from my experience following them for a while, claims that Sony is interested in buying Warner Brothers streaming and studio assets. These assets would include the company's HBO Max streaming service, various IPs, and gaming. Now, as an aside, Warner Brothers Discovery announced earlier this month that they were splitting the company into two entities. Warner Brothers Discovery Global Networks, which is all their linear television programs, and then streaming and studios, which is what we just mentioned. The split isn't scheduled to be completed until about mid-2026. But when that split is done, Sony has kicked the tires, reportedly, of buying everything that includes gaming assets like Mortal Kombat, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, and the DC universe. So the question that I'm going to pose out, and anybody jump in, would you trust Sony with the IPs, and do you think this is even possible? We all know Warner Brothers has been rumored to be trying to get out of the gaming business for a while, and it seemed like they just wanted to sell that and keep their streaming and studio stuff. So who knows if Sony would be interested in just that. But what are your general takes on the idea that Sony could be interested in Warner Brother games?
I mean, it sounds awesome on the surface, but I'm not sure if I would trust PlayStation, Sony with other IPs. They've had some issues, you know, in the past and everything with whenever it comes to it with other IPs. And I don't know. I'm just kind of nervous about that whole creative control, I guess. You know, bigger names like, you know, GOT, Potter, Mortal Kombat. Dude, I love Mortal Kombat. And if they were to mess that up, bro, people would have a huge problem, myself included. It has such a huge following. DC Universe as well. I mean, so, you know, I don't know if I'm completely on board with that. See, there you go. I'm not a Sony fanboy. Proof I'm not a Sony fanboy right there. The fact that I don't know if I'm sold on them doing this. So, yeah.
I don't know if I don't know if I would like it. I'd say because of Sony's recent shift to live service, but Warner Brothers done it too. So maybe they're a match made in heaven of failed live service games. What do you think, Grant?
No, I think it's has you could argue that the Warner Brothers isn't doing too good with Warner Brothers games, really. So how much harm could it do, right? You know, give someone else the con for a while. I think it would be fine as long as they didn't try to do anything live service, you know, like let them take over and try and do some single player stuff, because you could argue PlayStation has like the best single player IPs ever made, right? You know,
True.
You talk about like God of War, you talk about Horizon, Last of Us, Spider-Man, what else
Uncharted.
do you have? Uncharted, yeah, I can't really miss that one. Yeah, so there's lots of good precedence there for single player stuff. Do like a single player open world Game of Thrones RPG where I don't, you know, or looking at Harry Potter, say they do Hogwarts something or other. I don't know. I'm just spitballing, but I think that would be fine. But their track record of trying to do anything multiplayer really and anything live action is absolutely abysmal. So don't give them any of that. But as for taking off what Warner Brothers is doing kind of badly and then trying to improve on it, I think you know what I think my problem is with this, giving my 2 cents towards this, is I don't care about any of those franchises. So I'm like, go nuts, man. You break a leg, do whatever you want. Like, yeah, they can do whatever they want with it, I guess. They've got the money to do it. They've got the, WWBD is kind of pulling away from games a little bit, shrinking down, closing things off. So maybe it'll work. Who knows?
Tom, would you be ready for Mortal Kombat live service?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I have a little bit of a hot take, so prepare yourselves.
Here we go.
I think Sony need this.
Ooh.
The reason for that is because just going off of the recent Xbox game showcase and looking at their recent, I mean, I've said this multiple times, right? But going and looking back throughout the past 2 years, Xbox now has such an extensive library of studios and games that they are absolutely killing it now. And I don't know, I mean, as much as I think that, exclusives do sell consoles, first of all, I'm not sure how many are going to be ready for the next gen. And if this acquisition happened, like what stage would Harry Potter be at, for example? Because that would be a huge PlayStation exclusive, right? I don't know. Like maybe it's just the thoughts based on the facts that we haven't seen much from Sony recently, apart from Death Stranding 2, I guess, and Ghost of Yotei. Like we just haven't seen a lot from them, and I think I just think that they need it, to be honest, or they just rely on Marathon.
The delayed marathon, man. I didn't think about it from that.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it from that perspective, though. Yeah, there really hasn't been much, right? I mean, there's been games that have been pushed back, delayed games that we haven't heard about in so long. It's like, yeah, they kind of do need a win, don't they? Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, they need not just a win, but they need a massive win. They need the next Spider-Man, or they need, like, for example, is Wolverine going to push the same numbers of Spider-Man? I'm not entirely sure. How close is the next God of War game? We know that there's a kind of a 2.5D God of War game, smaller scale in development. Is that going to push units for them? I doubt it, because it's much smaller in scale. And going back to the whole live service things, they've had, is it nine of the 12 games that they planned have been cancelled now?
Something like that, yeah.
Like they need a win, and they need one probably more so now than ever heading into the next generation. I think they've had a bit of a blessing in disguise, in the sense that Xbox have decided to go down this multi-platform strategy, which I completely understand and appreciate. But that Xbox would have been in an even stronger position, in my opinion, if they decided to kind of keep it all. But I guess, with the Activision Blizzard acquisition, they simply couldn't do that, right? So, like, Call of Duty needs to be multi-platform for 10 years, so on and so forth. So, I don't know. I just feel like that at the moment, Sony need a big win, and they need to bolster their IPs a little bit more.
Someone mentioned, I would love a reboot of Shadow of Mordor. I'm all for it if Sony buys it and we get some form of Monolith back, and we get the Nemesis system back in games. Because the fact that we have to remember, when Warner Brothers shut Wonder Woman down and all of that, they also put the Nemesis system away, and they have it under lock until, 2036, I think is the year. So if that happens and we get that, cool. I'm all for it. Let's go. So now I'm all for it. Do I think it happens? I don't know. I don't think it happens. But again, especially because now they did also, Warner Brothers just announced they are splitting up. They're restructuring around these core franchises. So now they have a new team focused solely on DC and Mortal Kombat, a team focused solely on Harry Potter and Game of Thrones. So who knows what they end up doing. If it happens, it wouldn't be until next year. And then it'd have to go through, like the Activision deal with Microsoft, a ton of regulatory challenges. Topic number 4. We're ending the news of the week with a great game that launched on June 10th and has been well received by the masses. I'm, of course, talking about Mindseye. A game that has been found, reportedly, in the clearance bin for $20 at Walmart.
I saw something on that, right? I don't know, because I've never been in a Walmart. Could it be that was a return? Because I saw in the news as well that someone found a returned Nintendo Switch 2 at Walmart that had been discounted by like $150. Could it have been that?
If in the picture from the Reddit user, it shows the game still like it's in its security box, but it's also still wrapped in its cellophane pack.
Okay, that makes sense.
So the seal hasn't been broken on it, so it would be hard to believe that.
Yeah, maybe.
But the game was so bad with so many bugs, it got the Cyberpunk treatment as PlayStation started issuing refunds. It became this year's worst rated game on Metacritic. As of now, it is at a Metascore from critics of a 36.
Oh, God.
And it is at a 28. Or 2.5 from users based on 369 ratings. You had
that's rough.
Various outlets give it as low as a 1 out of 5. Yeah, we talked about it. This goes with that graphical fidelity that Tom brought up. They showcase so much of how good the game looks. Very rarely ever showcase gameplay. Then it got to the gameplay, and man, is it boring, uninspired, typical garbage. 20 seems high. That's kind of where I'm at. They have released updates and they promise to make the game better, but it's a game that's peaking right now on Steam after peaking at about 3,000 on its launch day to less than 200 users concurrently. Like, I get it's a single player game and you get through it, but no one's picking it back up. Like, this is a game on Steam, at least they play it for 20 minutes and then they refund it because you have that 2-hour window on all new purchases.
Yeah, wasn't there also a thing like a lot of the opening game was cinematics to try and get you past the 2-hour point so you couldn't refund? I'm pretty sure I saw that.
That's amazing.
Do you think all of these negative critic reviews and user reviews are being paid for by a competing studio?
Yeah, probably. I think
they paid me. I didn't focus on them.
That was another thing. They canceled sponsor streams because of how bad the game was performing. They canceled sponsored streams with various Twitch users. What was it? Carnage. He was about to start his stream when he got an email from the developer saying, "Hey, never mind."
Wow, you know what I found funny though? I found funny that this is so a really similar example from this year because this year's been great for bad games. La Chimera from the Reburn guys who formerly 4A Games Ukraine, I think was the studio that rebranded. So that came out and it was delayed on the day it was supposed to launch because the reviews were so bad and the game was so poor that they said, no, we're going to delay it. And then they didn't say how long they were going to delay it for. And then they turned around and said, you know what, we're going to release it, but it's going to be in early access this time. And then they re-released it like a couple of weeks later. Still not the worst rated game of 2025. That's so bad, man. Yeah. I feel so bad for Build a Rocket Boy, man. This game could literally be like the first and final nail in their coffin.
Yeah, I think for me, it's I've seen a few people say, "Oh, this game's going to be good in 2 to 3 years," which fair enough. I think that it could be right, but they don't like this. Isn't a cyberpunk type of deal, right? Like, Build a Rocket Boy don't have the funds to probably work on this game for another 2 to 3 years and make it great.
What did Cyberpunk? What did it cost CD Projekt? Something like $400 million or something to patch up. You know.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like, also at the same time, I think that we need to give some criticism to IO Interactive for publishing the game in this state, because frankly, it's just embarrassing. Yeah, I mean that's all I've got to say on it, to be honest, because it just leaves a bad taste.
I'm surprised they aren't distancing themselves a little more. IO. I mean, they haven't really said anything, and they got their own things. Like they still got Hitman, and they have the new James Bond game coming next year. So, like they're focused on that. And I think their hope is, their hope is that everybody will ignore this garbage. Look, James Bond.
Yep, there's a new update for Lashif. New update for Lashif. Go ahead and play that. Yeah,
Mads Mikkelsen, everyone, quick.
Yeah,
it's happening way too often now, though, isn't it? Like, look at a couple of examples recently. I know it's not so recently, but like Fallout 76, right? Launches is terrible. Couple of years of work, they say, oh, it's good now. Dying Light 2, which is one that I obviously quite like. When it came out, really bad. They do a bit of work. Suddenly, it's great. Cyberpunk launches horrific. Couple of years later, hey, no, it's good now. It's good now. There are developers thinking like, you know what? Gamers, they don't mind it when we release broken games as long as we fix them within a couple of years. You know, maybe that's what they're trying to do now. Like, it doesn't matter if we launch a game and we say, oh yeah, multiplayer, open world maps, like additional content coming out, like. We'll promise all of that's going to come down the line. Absolutely. We're not going to include that at launch. That can come later. For now, just take this buggy mess and we'll fix it and it'll be great eventually. You know, it's just so bizarre. Man. I don't understand.
Yeah, they can speak for themselves because I don't like games that are released and they're basically not complete, man. I mean, look, you're getting these day one fixes that have all these, patches and everything else. You put in the disc and then all of a sudden, or you download it, whatever, and then you go to play it. And then you can't play it online because there's this big ass update, with all these bug fixes. It's
we could spend a whole show of me ranting and us talking about how much I hate day one patches. I get it's a nice thing that we can have them, but how games just feel we could, and yet they want to charge 80 to 100.
Is it really ready then? Like,
no,
bro,
it's not. We have to move on.
Yes.
I said we had a loaded show.
I will say that one last thing on that though, the day one patch thing, it gets nuts, right? Because I had Stalker 2 for a month before it came out, right? And it was patch, and then it came out like, right, here's the day one patch. Leading up to that, I must have had like 20 patches coming out. It was great.
That's what Rematch was doing during this early access. Granted, we didn't have like review time because they didn't put the servers on until early access, but they had multiple hot fixes a day and then a day one patch and
crazy.
But I can justify it for small teams, cheaper games, and big like these big AAA games or even large scale AA. But like I said, we have a loaded show. We have a lot to still get to.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly say, I mean, what does this mean for everywhere as well, right? Like their other game.
I forgot that game existed.
That game was meant to be released in 2023. I have seen quite a lot on it, and it looked terrible. It was like, it looked terrible. So I don't know. I'll look into it a bit more, and maybe that's an article for the future. But
that's that's the game they're expecting it to be like a Roblox, but prettier, where you can go in and create your own games like that. I think that's dead.
Yeah, it just seems like they can't.
Is anybody gonna trust them?
Yeah, they just can't build a rocket. Man. They just can't build a rocket at the moment.
Just build a rocket, boy.
Next, there's a lot of stories we have to get to, but not all warrant a full discussion, and we call them the bite-sized bits. Thank you, Grant, for the title. Before getting into that,
thank you, Bruce. That means nothing to you guys, but thank you, Bruce, for bite-sized bits. Now moving on.
Dish of friends, not food.
That's it.
Every time you say Bruce, it comes to my head. Make sure you get in your chats. If you want to guarantee we read your comment on the air or answer your question, consider leaving a super chat. Subscribe to Insider Gaming wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe here on YouTube and sign up for the forums at insider-gaming.com/forum. Real quick before moving on, Fuzzy Muffin, the CEO of Build a Rocket, also did no favor saying that we're glad you have the game and we look forward to you exploring. We could have put more time after we couldn't have put more time and effort into this. Yeah, it was just everything from start to finish has been a mess with that game. Know what else has been a mess? Topic number one of the bite-sized bits. Marathon, in the most unexpected news ever, was delayed after what Bungie called strong and clear messages from the audience coming out of the alpha. Guys, is this game dead on arrival? Because they didn't even announce a release date.
Yeah. It's dead now. Like, it's just not even, it doesn't have to come out to be dead, man.
Yeah.
The interest is so low.
Paul Tassi did a fantastic article on this, saying that they are not going to cancel the game or change it in any significant way, and I completely agree with that. But like, I just don't understand it. Like I don't see this game doing well past, like we said before, past the first week when they're paying all their influencers, all the Twitch streamers, $20,000 to $50,000.
What was that?
For
Twitch streamers.
Because we're a YouTube stream.
Paying all the Twitch streamers, $20,000, $50,000 a stream. Like, as soon as that money runs out, this game's dead.
Yeah, folks are just gonna be like...
or do you think that they'll tell streamers not even to bother?
Yeah,
like with Mindseye, maybe it'll be another situation. Next on Bite Size Bits, Battlefield has moved to alpha. By the way, if you've missed any of these stories, everything we touch on is available at insider-gaming.com for full rundown. Tom, number of playtesters told you that the next Battlefield game has moved to its alpha. What were you told?
Yeah, so yeah, well, I mean, they told me it's moved to alpha.
The Twitch streamers.
the watermarks for like Battlefield Labs and it's saying pre-alpha in the top right or bottom left or whatever corner. That's now changed to alpha. There was a massive update that added some of the Battle Royale stuff, which we believe is going to be a free-to-play component of the game. And I think Temprial is a Battlefield data miner. He's already data mined some images for people to have a look at over on Twitter, and we should probably post those to the website. But yeah, I mean, it's gone to alpha. I expect an announcement in within the next 6 to 8 weeks. And yeah, from what I've heard, things are going well, and hopefully, things are on track, and it will release later this year.
Excellent.
Is it going to be better than Call of Duty? Come on.
No,
double down.
No,
double down.
No comment.
You know what other game is going to be really bad, by the way? Fair Game $. That's a game that I still don't think is going to come. I love how you made a comment. You posted, and I think it might have been Paul Tassi, who replies like, "Can we stop with the misinformation of that even it's going to come out?" Like,
yeah, and he's right. Like,
I
it would be funny if it came out before Marathon, but I don't think it will. But
yeah.
Grant,
this one's you. Techland not finished with Dying Light 2 despite the upcoming launch of The Beast. You had this story up on Insider Gaming. What can you tell us?
Yeah, man. So it came from me talking to the franchise director at Summer Games Fest, which was a fantastic chat that yielded so many tidbits of information that you guys can get on Insider Gaming. We were speaking about what it meant to have Roger Craig Smith back in the game, and they revealed that if he hadn't come back, there would be no game, which was really cool. We talked through the fact that the Dying Light the Beast isn't just a standalone, was a DLC, is now a game. It leads into the next generation of Dying Light. So you play Dying Light the Beast at the ending. I think you get a little nod into where the franchise is going, because they said there absolutely will be more. Despite the Beast being so big, they're now referring to it as Dying Light 3. This is like, next era stuff. So they said that Dying Light 2 isn't done with, because they did originally promise to support it until 2027, and they said they're going to live by that. And once Dying Light the Beast is out, resource allocation will take place at Techland, and they'll say, cool, we can now do a bit more with Dying Light 2 Stay Human. So the live service stuff is going to continue. They were talking about a surprising collaboration coming up at the end of the summer, and then obviously all the usual content updates and special events will still be rolling out. So Dying Light 2 will still stay a thing. I wasn't able to find out if there's anything that they're going to do with the Beast after it drops. Maybe, but for now, Dying Light 2 is the only live service Dying Light game really that's like, got some chops. So it's all good for Dying Light 2 fans. You still got something to play after the Beast has come out and you finished it. So
because the Beast was originally DLC, right?
It was, yeah. It was a DLC. Yeah. It all got leaked, and they had to change up and pivot. And they basically just said, "This thing is big. It's big enough to be its own standalone game. Let's not have this as a DLC tacked onto the side of Dying Light 2. Let's make it its own thing." And it did, and it grew, and it's now like a 20-hour game in an entirely new, never before seen region. And I've played it, and I can say it genuinely does feel like an entirely new Dying Light game. It's fantastic, really good stuff.
Nice.
And lastly, on bite-sized bits, The Witcher 3. Yes, that game, 10 years old, is being rumored to get brand new DLC in 2026. As reported by Polish podcasters Rock and Boris, MP First found it. A third major expansion is planned for The Witcher 3. Quote, from the information we've collected, it turns out that the announced mysterious project by CD Projekt Red, made by Fool's Theory, is a story DLC for the game. This is confirmed information from several independent sources. Obviously, CDPR has not commented on it. I've reached out. I don't expect any sort of comment. Most studios will not comment on these types of rumors and speculation.
I'm going to Warsaw in a couple of weeks. Let me knock on their door, man.
I mean, you're going to be there. You might as well take the short walk and just or hold up a big sign. Witcher 3 DLC? Question mark.
Yeah.
But if this is the case, I mean, it has had a lot of people excited, and it'd be a nice holdover before The Witcher 4 in a few years, right?
True.
Yeah, I'm not a big Witcher player, so like, I don't know if any of you guys are, but is there? All right, so Grant, is there a connection between 3 and 4 at the moment, or is there something that they could do? DLC wise, no, like I under, like the
wasn't his daughter supposed to be the main? Isn't it?
Yeah. Well, technically, she's not his daughter. Technically, she is Emir Van Emrys's daughter. Yes, well,
yeah.
So, so the people saying it's going to be like a major DLC or a major expansion or whatever, I can't see that, but I can see them doing something where it's like they bridge the gap between 3 and 4, because if it's not explored maybe all that deep in The Witcher 4, which I don't see why it wouldn't be rather, then they could obviously do something like a cutover. But it's really difficult because for a few things. So one, the final DLC for The Witcher 3 was Blood and Wine, and it ended on such an ultimate, like you literally got an acknowledgement that like that's it, game's done, it's finished, there's nothing more to do. There's like a fourth wall break where Geralt of Rivia like literally acknowledges the player and says like their journey is at an end, kind of thing.
Nice.
So that's one sticking point. The second sticking point is there are multiple endings for The Witcher 3. So in some way they'd have to like retcons. I mean, obviously they already have, right? Because they've revealed that Ciri is now a Witcher and she's the protagonist of The Witcher 4, which means they've chosen which ending is going to be canonical. It's one of the like 4 or 5 endings that you can get. But I think it would be really confusing to have people like end their game and then do something else that overwrites how their game ended and like so soon. So I don't know if it makes like logistical sense to do it, but if they did do it, it's just going to be a couple of missions that explains the cutover. It's basically it. Bite-sized bits.
And with that,
bite-sized bits.
This is where we have to say goodbye and go be Twitch streamers.
Never living that down, man.
Before we sign off, a reminder to sign up for the Insider Gaming forums at insider-gaming.forum. We have a lot at insidergaming.com as well of previews from our time at Summer Games Fest and Playdays. We have previews of Spine, Dying Light the Beast, Resident Evil Requiem, Lego Party, and Marvel Cosmic Invasion. We have more to come. I sat down with Shohei Yoshida. That interview and the story from there is coming sometime next week, I believe, is when it'll be live. But we have a lot coming to Insider Gaming. Also, if you want to keep up on the latest trailers, we are doing our best. We have launched Insider Gaming trailers. You can subscribe there at youtube.com/@Insider Gaming trailers and subscribe so you get notified whenever those go live to, again, help support us. You can follow Insider Gaming at Insider Gaming IG on Twitter, at Insider-Gaming on Blue Sky, at Insider_Gaming on YouTube, Insider Gaming News on the Facebook. You can find Grant at Newcov_, AP at Weekly Wrap Up, myself at Mike Straw Media. Tom, look for the snowmobile since he doesn't put his handle on the screen, and I can't remember how many underscores are actually in it.
It's like
And
7.
with that said, AP, you're on the clock. Take us away.
I'm clocking in, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show. Smash the like button on your way out. Appreciate you as always. For Mike, Grant, and Tom, I am, of course, your host with the most A to the B, Albert Perkins, and we will see you on the inside.
Twitch streamers!